As far as violence against women in the in the place of work, especially in journalism is concerned, so there are many manifestations of it. It could be a physical violence. We have female journalists who have been kidnapped. We have female journalists who suffer a lot of backlash. So we must also take into account that violence is not just physical, there's online violence also, the kind of threats that you are exposed to. So I think we need to take all of that into account when we are talking about violence against women, especially in the place of work.
My name is Amber Shamsi. I'm a multimedia journalist. I host a show on a local channel. I've worked as a reporter, as an editor, as a producer, as a presenter in print, radio and television. So wide experience. Journalists, because of the job that they do, because they speak truth to power, because they expose certain issues that powerful people may not want exposed, always face violence, potential violence and threats. So that goes with the job, it goes with the territory, and you become a journalist knowing that. But I think as a female journalist, there's another layer of anxiety in terms of how you are received because of your gender, what kind of threats and violence that you are exposed to. So if, for instance, you're a reporter and you're in the field, you have to think about how you dress, you have to think about how a large group of people may potentially attack you. You have to think of your safety at multiple levels. I would like to add that the dangers or the violence that you may potentially face as a journalist, there is another sort of layer that's now been added to that, and that's through social media as well. So the kind of response that you get on social media because of your gender makes, I think, one's job as a journalist all the more difficult. Because even though many of my male colleagues also get a lot of criticism, a lot of flack, a lot of threats because of the work that they do online on social media, the response that you get as a female journalist tends to be of a sexual nature. They will attack you for your personality, the way you dress, your family, your value system. I have received, for instance, if I've been in the field, at protests and rallies, it has been, I have had to protect myself because of the kind of harassment that I received as a woman. But online, I think some of the threats and threats of violence that I've gotten have been far scarier in one way, because the people who are sending me these threats and violence, they don't have faces, so it's easier for them. They will send me sexually explicit messages as well. I've received knives for the stories that I've done, and this has been a cause of concern for the organization that I worked for at that time as well, in which a story of mine was stopped because of the potential threat to my safety. So I think as a woman journalist, the anxiety, threat of violence and harassment is added on to the job that you do as a journalist.
जो वुमेन जर्नलिस्ट है, ज़ाहिर है वो इसी सोसाइटी का हिस्सा है. सोसाइटी में बहुत सारा स्ट्रेस है, बहुत सारा ऑपरेशन है, और जर्नलिस्ट ज़रा थोड़ा सा और ऐड कर दीजिए, क्योंकि ये वुमेन जर्नलिस्ट हैं तो एक घर से एक बैटल लड़के इस फील्ड में आती हैं और अपने आप को मनवाने के लिए एक और बैटल लड़ती हैं. और फिर जब अब सेंसरशिप्स हो रही हैं, जिस तरह की ट्रोलिंग और जिस तरह के अटैक्स ख़वातीन जर्नलिस्ट पे होते हैं, शायद वो मर्द हजरात पे नहीं होते. तो जब आपको रेप थ्रेट्स मिल रहे हों, जब आपको कहा जा रहा हो कि आपको अगवा किया जा सकता है, इस तरह के थ्रेट्स के बाद आपकी मेंटल हेल्थ सबसे पहले मुतासर हो रही होती है. तो बहुत ज़रूरी है कि सेल्फ़ केयर और मेंटल हेल्थ और काउंसलिंग के हवाले से ख़वातीन जर्नलिस्ट के लिए प्लेटफॉर्म क्रिएट किए जाएँ, उनको अपॉर्चुनिटी प्रोवाइड की जाए, वेदर ये उनके ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस की तरफ से हो या जो नॉन प्रॉफिट है उनकी तरफ से हो. बट दैट वुड बी सिंपली ग्रेट टू हेल्प दीज वुमेन.